good. I look like I'm in a bar and you look like you're at a pharmacy. What am I missing?
Nothing. I'm just in a different location. That's about it.
Ah, okay. Let me get my it's recording stuff on, which I've been doing a lot lately. So I'm pushing the right buttons, even though I don't have my glasses on. So that's a struggle. How you doing, my friend?
We finally trained you to use technology without second thought.
Woo, crazy. It's Pavlov's dog.
Uh-huh.
More food. All right. So, hey, I was talking to this politician here 2 days ago, and we were talking about anti-trans laws because I'm like, there just are so few people that are trans. I have no idea why we're focusing on them. And he goes, well, Sean, the abortion debate, once the Supreme Court got involved and kind of decided it, they had to find the next thing to go hate on. And I was like, he goes, so it's the new abortion. And I go, that almost makes too much sense. Like literally, because you go less than 1% of the society, and we've got a whole bunch of attention paid on them. The downside is not heavy voters. So, you only get to go so much. Right. And whether we like it or not, the commodity of politics is voting.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah. You want to know why white people don't pay attention to you? You don't vote. So, so yeah, pretty fascinating. One of my old stories from like 2 years ago in a place called Cache, Oklahoma, over the front door of it, somebody hung a sheet and said, Cache won't prosecute pedos or something along those lines. And it was probably one of the best photographs I've ever seen because it forced me to look into whatever was going on there. And the guy that was the superintendent back then who did nothing is still the superintendent who's done nothing, but he's trying to get rid of the teacher who tried to do something.
Oh, wow.
I think we got a male-female power dynamic problem here. I'm just guessing because it always seems to be a dude in charge and a woman going, how can you not see we need to do the right thing?
Yeah. Happens more often than we think.
I know. Evidently, it's common, and I know it's common. I'm being rhetorical, folks. Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy shit. So, did you really want to talk about hiring and firing people today?
Honestly, no. We can talk about anything.
Oh no, I'm all good with it. But let me tell you my best firing story I've ever had in my entire life. And I don't remember the guy's name, but he came in and applied for a job and said that he knew how to cook and worked at these other diners and all this other stuff. And we were shorthanded, so I hired him without really doing an appropriate background check. So whose fault is that? Mine, right?
Yep.
So turns out he may very well have just been a homeless drug addict that I'd hired, which is fine if you've stopped doing drugs and maybe perhaps you have a place to, because he was clean. I mean, I would never have thought that he was living on the streets or anything. And so he works and he's okay. He's good enough. I just need somebody to make hash browns and fries and be clean, right?
No, that's basic.
Right. So Christmas Eve, we're open. Christmas Day, almost every business in America is closed, except the online businesses you all have created, which run 24/7, 7 days a week.
Make our lives anxiety-ridden even when everybody else is off.
Yeah, when they're off, and you're just still thinking, I don't know what happened with that piece of code. So he comes in and he's high on some drug, and we're busy, and nothing's getting done. And he's just literally staring at the ticket line as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Finally, I have to just go, hey, man, what's wrong? It's like, I just I'm not ready to work. And I go, dude, you're high. Get out of here. You're fired. And I jump in and I start cooking. That's what you have to do as an owner. That's why as an owner, you need to know how to do all the jobs. You just don't put up the money. You got to know how to do the jobs. And the guy's name was Clancy. And he looks at me and he goes, man, are you effing kidding me? Are you firing me on Christmas Eve? And I'm like, are you high on heroin on Christmas Eve? And he shamed me for like the next 5 minutes just because it was Christmas Eve. He wasn't saying I was wrong. It was just the timing of being wrong.
Can I tell you,
to this day,
I absolutely love people like that who completely make it about something else.
Right.
Like, dude, you're
Yeah.
missing the entire point.
Heroin. And this wasn't like normal, I mean, he was nodding out like a narcoleptic.
Hmm.
It was to the point of dangerous. And to
Yeah.
this day, he's the guy I always think of when people talk about firing people and what could go wrong. Imagine if that dude had a gun, he'd have killed me and probably 8 or 10 other people that worked in the restaurant that day. Yeah.
Hmm. Oh, yeah.
And that's, of course, shit that we have to deal with that no one cares that we have to deal with. They just make our lives miserable enough to have to care about it. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
That's why I usually get suggestions from Christine where she was like, just text people and tell them. I was like,
Yeah.
are you insane?
Do it the modern way. Just text them and fire. Well, I had a guy managing one of my restaurants, and I had to drive 300 miles to fire, and then he wasn't at work, and I was really pissed. Right. So I had to wait because my deal is I want to make sure it's done properly so I don't get sued because I've had to pay
Workers' comp.
unemployment claims more than once.
No. Yeah.
Probably not a problem in India.
I don't think it is. I mean, I'm not too well versed. We actually have an HR who deals with that because I have no idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
But it is fascinating. Like, see, sometimes you can help people, but sometimes you just cannot. It's like banging your head against a wall. You might as well just give up and be like, all right.
So I read a book on General Omar Bradley, who you're familiar with, my wife, distant relative that worked along with Patton and MacArthur in the big war, back in the big war.
Mm-hmm.
And his deal was when he trained people, he would show them once. And if they didn't seem to have an aptitude for it, he would say, I'm going to show you this one more time. And if it doesn't work, we're going to move you to something you can do because he's in the middle of a war. There's no time to try to retrain. Mm-hmm. And some people just aren't cut out for the jobs they think they're cut. Everybody thinks they can be a manager. Everybody. Until you're a manager, and I can walk through a building with you and tell you whether you can be a manager or not. Did you check the toilet paper? Did you check the hand towels? Is the paper towels in the kitchen full? And if it's not full, did you look and mark it down as something you got to do in a few hours? Because those are the things that keep me from being sued. Are there obstacles on the floor? All that kind of stuff. And what a lot of people seem to think management's about telling people what to do. Well, the whole goal is that you don't tell them anything. They know how to do it.
Yeah.
So you can move on to some other stuff.
Exactly. Like you don't have to babysit them through, handhold them through everything that they have to do kind of thing. There are times when I don't speak to any of our salespeople for maybe like a month till they text me and ask me a question. Like, see, if they have a genuine question as to, hey, is this possible on this application? I'll be like, yes, no, I don't know. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell them, dude, I need to call our technical head and tell you.
So I don't know. Let me get back with you. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have any fear of telling people I don't know. I'll get back to you in a day. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the challenge is everybody thinks this is easy, and there's this huge abundance of talent out there that you get to go pick from. And you guys may have more talent in India than we have over here, readily available, that have gone through college and really want to do well. In the restaurant business, this is a peculiar business. Like we deal with kind of like the misfits and miscreants of the world and turn them into a bad news bears type of team. And if you got talent at this, you can run about anything once you have an understanding of it. But we've never moved to computers because I'm old.
Yeah.
I truthfully don't want to work with something my employees can manipulate way better than me. And it's where the money is. So, the combination doesn't work for me. And people think, well, you have to do this. And I go, I don't have to do shit. I own 2 busy restaurants. I actually don't. People are okay with the paper tickets. Yeah, they are.
See, at your age, you get to go that. I don't have to do anything.
Not at yours. Well, at yours, the thing is all of the things that can be done, inventory and everything else, I have to do every single day because we don't have very much storage. So I have to replace all stuff every day. So it's not Hey man, if I owned a big multi-million-dollar place that did hundreds of thousands of dollars in business a week, I would want the best system made. I'd also have robots though, doing some jobs that are difficult to hire. I would move to robots at this point.
No, yeah. That is a genuinely
it's the future. Right. I mean, if you're just dropping fries, I just need you to drop the fries and shake them so the oil can get to everything. Perfect timing, and take them out. I mean, man, that can be done. There is, have I told you about the little robot that runs food out your tables?
We have talked about it. When you thinking about doing that for widows,
Well, so what we figured out, or Diana figured out, is she bought a 1980s pager system for $50 off of eBay that does the exact same job. It gets the waiters back to the kitchen to get their food.
No, nice.
We've not had one single cold food issue, period. $50 pager system. And they used to be shockingly expensive because, it was a multi-pager system. I'm sure back in the day, there was somebody inside the machine pushing like the Wizard of Oz. And it was a great solution to a modern problem. And, would the robot be hilarious? Yes. Would people be offended by it also? Yes. The floor cleaner at Sam's Club bothers me because it seems like it's following me.
I can imagine
I could be wrong, but every time I'm in there, it's following me.
Yeah. Sean, maybe you're creating such a mess and you don't realize it, that they've just follow this guy, please.
Right. Follow Whitey over there. He looks like he's up to no good. So the question is on so the combination of AI plus lower level manual labor that can be done by a machine or a robot at this point, they don't have to be that advanced for a whole bunch of jobs. It's important to point that out to folks. I'm not trying to get rid of anybody. We are fully staffed with good, reasonable people. So I'm just talking as if. But if I was your age and I could buy a robot that would last for 10 years and show up to work every day and never call in sick and not have the emotional issues that lots of people have to deal with, which I have a lot of skills. That's not one of them. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And you're very British in that realm, so you're even worse than I am, which is, stiff upper lip.
Might not be as good as talking to the robot itself if they ask me something.
So when do you see the transfer because it's coming, or actually it's not coming, it's here. We saw it in the automobile industry a decade ago, just from welding, because now you have perfect welds every time.
Yeah, it's like that whole analogy they use, right? About the introduction of cars and what happened to all the horses.
Yeah. Well, they went to World War II and didn't come back, and the French ate them. I mean, that's what happened. As you and I know from Christine, that's what happened to the horses. They became food.
Or glue, one of the two.
Yeah, boiling down the bones. So we had a factory outside of Lawrence, Kansas. It was a glue factory, and that's where they take the old horses.
No,
but I'm sure all the meat went into dog food or something. Americans think we're above eating horses.
Oh,
which tells you've never been hungry.
No, have you ever seen that? It was one of our old friends who once showed me how they were manufacturing dog food, where it was basically like the leftovers of all the. It wasn't like shelf stable, like old Snicker bars, old cereal, all of that.
No,
it all just went into this machine and was ground up to have a certain percentage of protein, fat, vitamins, and all of that. And it was just it was the most fascinating factory visit, but the place just smelled horrible, Sean.
Oh, I bet.
It is like everything that is like not human consumable, but just there where you can just process it down into a powder and figure out how much of protein it has and mix it into shit.
Well, dog food smells all the time anyway, but they do lick their own butts. So, let's be honest. I mean, not the brightest creatures.
If you ever go to that factory, you'll understand why it smells that way, because this is the fresher version of that smell.
So are you talking about Purina, the one here where when the wind blows this way, it smells so bad? Wow. Yeah. I used to play soccer right by there.
Oh, God, yeah.
Crazy. Hey, I know we're probably 8 or 10 minutes into this. We need to talk about a little politics here, just real quick. So this crazy guy, Ryan Walters, who's been written about all over the world now because he's such a nut job, and he runs the Last Place Education Department. His first person he picked on was this little tiny woman named Summer Bossomer, or Summer Bossimier, if you say it in French. Of course, it's a difficult name. She's a Democrat. It just couldn't be something you could just pronounce, for God's sakes. Just couldn't be easy. But she's a tough little nugget. And they were starting in with the book ban stuff, which, as any of you paying attention to American politics now, are all over the nation. And there are pockets of people fighting it everywhere. And I'm one of them here. And so she covered her stuff up like with a tarp, made a paper saying these are the books you can't read. And she gave a QR code to the Brooklyn Library in New York, so you could get any book you wanted, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he accused her of giving corn to the kids and showing them corn and all this other stuff. I'm trying to not get thrown off of YouTube, folks. And
it rhymes with just play that game with us.
Yeah. She sued him for defamation of character, and he now has lost all of his lawyers and everything else, but he goes to court, and the judge refused to throw it out, meaning you've got enough evidence for this case. And he tried to get it tossed. His chickens are coming home to roost. And this young lady is a little tiny badass, and I absolutely love her. But a lot of people just suck it up and just take it from this guy. So he's in the middle of this, and he has no lawyers. So like they have to go find lawyers, and his newest one's a representative I used to play soccer with, and that's who they're using. And you go, there's no expertise in that field, right? I mean, none. Because are talking tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. And so he didn't apply for any of these federal grants and stuff, which are hundreds of millions of dollars. Literally got rid of the whole department because he wants to crash it. And so the legislature grew, one hair on a spine back here and rewrote the stuff saying he has to apply for them. Well, you're just going to apply for them poorly. This dude, woo, Lordy. So we got school board meeting tomorrow, but he is a handful. And I don't know where all this ends up, but man, it doesn't end up good. Yeah. I mean, you've heard all this over a year. People that listen all the time have heard this over a year, but I mean, this is top level weird stuff. So in Missouri, here in America, if a trans person, they're trying to get a bill through, and these are just bills they're trying to, so it doesn't mean they'll ever get through, but the fact that somebody wrote it's pretty bad. If you as a teacher follow the pronoun requests of a trans person, and I realize to normal people this sounds so difficult, try employees, and if they show up on time and do their job, you'll go, what would you like me to call you? So you'll be back tomorrow. Nobody cares. Literally nobody cares. But so teachers, if they do that in Missouri, $10,000 fine, it's a felony, and you'll be on the sex registry for using requested pronouns.
Jesus.
Right. So it is the new abortion. I mean, this is where the fight is, but it's of a group that is so small. I've had 2 trans employees in 30 years. And, we've had customers obviously come in, but, I mean, the door's open. You got money, come on in. I don't know where all this goes, but it doesn't seem to have the same grip as a lot of other things. Like, so you're afraid of the guy that's scared because they think people are going to kill him? That's who we're afraid of, and you want to harm them because they're afraid somebody's going to kill them? Yeah, we're in a great place in America right now. Just want to point that out. I can't wait for November to come and go.
Oh, yeah. I don't know whether I'll leave this in or not, but then it's actually our elections on Friday.
Oh, there?
Oh, yeah. This is.
Are you trying to get us banned from YouTube again?
Don't worry. I'll edit this out.
Okay.
What sections we can keep in, depending on how this goes. So Modi is basically seeking a 3rd term.
I wish it wasn't this way, but let's be honest. I mean, is this new to world? Is this new to government? No. My family participated in the Crusades, for God's sakes, literally. I mean, how dumb is that? We lost Scotland because the actual real general was doing the Crusades rather than being back there fighting the Bruce family that was taking over the country. Yeah, those are just facts.
Mhm.
So God had his joke and vengeance on us.
They always
That's
had
why I'm
that.
a bartender. That's why I'm a bartender in Oklahoma. Because one ancestor 1,000 years ago decided to go try to kill Mohammedans for no apparent freaking reason.
See, that's the thing, though, Sean. They always say, like, what was it? Was it the Scottish or the Irish where they were like, no, it was the Scottish where it's the portion of Irish people who went like, come on, lads, I know a place that's more rainier.
Right. It's colder and rainier over here, and the sun doesn't come out for months.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the place we were in charge of.
Uh,
So when the Italians say you're king of the Bakazu, it means you're king of the bathroom. It's not a compliment.
mhm.
And as far as places to live go, I guess Norway would have been worse back then.
Yeah.
But that's where we came from, probably. So, but we went to France and took a big swath of land there. I don't know why we just didn't stay. And we must have married in because, our people were not that good looking. We must have married in with the French or bred with the French, for lack of a better word.
Mhm.
That went back in those days. So
But
I mean, it's how are these circular problems just keep rolling back? I mean,
because nobody really reads or learns from history, I guess. That is the human nature, Sean, more than anything. Like, I wish that I would actually look at something from my past and be like, okay, I'm going to do it differently this time. Consciously, I am doing it, but then there is a part that just deviates into fixed patterns when I'm not paying attention.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It is rough, my friend. It is rough. Well, I hope all that goes well, and what he's proving by doing the stuff he's doing is that stuff works.
Mhm.
Venezuela, Colombia, and now
Mhm.
Argentina, the place I wanted to move. They've got a lunatic down there. So, yeah, it's crazy. All right. Well, on the hiring firing, we kind of got off of the deal, but I guess that would roll into politics as well. I don't. I've been traveling around the whole state giving away money to cover school lunch debt,
Mhm.
and what we have found is there's a lot of poor rural Oklahomans, and whew, Lordy, and I think they're happy that I show up with the money, but I don't know how that problem ends because there's nowhere to work.
See, but also my question is that till you started doing it, nobody really knew about it, or it always existed and
Right.
nobody gave a fuck or did anything about it.
Right.
It's just
Nationwide.
It's just that you are doing it now, so there's attention drawn to it. Like, it was
Right.
weird because last night I came across an old episode of a show called Shameless, in
Yeah. The
in which
drunk Irish family.
in which they were talking about like the school lunches where the kid is trying to sell like peanut butter sandwiches because the lunch lady gives them like really stale bread with cheese and adds it to their student debt or whatever.
That's the shame sandwich, right? That's the shame sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Wow. See, so people did know. What the problem is there's an underlying economy there. Okay, let's take ourselves back and look at it. If you and I were both actually British and wanted to control people, so you put them in a situation where they're bound to fail, and the lunch thing, kids are just hungry, but we're going to require you to be at school, and if you don't show up, we're going to send a truancy officer to your house. So like jail. But then, no matter what is wrong with your family, if we are forcing you to have this education so you can be a tax-paying citizen, just feed them. It's not here. People. So in Ireland, when you were on the dole, they used to paint the door of your house red for hundreds of years.
That was also a dick move, by the way.
Right? Yeah, but you go. But did that keep people from being on the dole? No. There is always going to be a subset of the economy that just falls through the cracks and can't get back up. You have to accept that, like a loss ratio at a grocery store. You buy $100,000 worth of stuff at a grocery store, you're not going to sell all 100. So your profit margin has to be somewhere else. You're going to have 5 to 6% that's either throwaway, or you can give it to the people that fell through the cracks. I mean, look, everybody's lunchrooms make extra food. They don't know the exact count of what they're going to sell every day. So
Yeah.
you're telling me you throw that stuff into the trash and you make the shameless kid have the cheese sandwich? So what does that say to that kid? So people pick on him. And
Yeah.
I go back to, I don't know who the mafioso was, but he was a famous one that murdered a whole bunch of people. And they interviewed him. And it was the most honest interview I'd ever seen. He was from New York. He goes, I went to school in the morning and I didn't have matching shoes. These are the shoes my parents gave me, and people made fun of me and picked on me. So I beat them within an inch of their lives. And for the rest of his life, he was reliving that moment of being shamed about being poor.
Mm.
And how'd that work out for you? You think these shooters that randomly come in and do shit didn't run into this same stuff? I mean, there is a cause and effect to treating people this poorly. And in America, everybody just assumes you're here, you should be able to figure out a way to make it.
Say life should be like hockey, right? Where you have to go back and look at who instigated that shit.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Like, then what 15-year-old girl is your boy able to do whatever he wants to, and nobody's going to do anything? It's a secondary economy there, you know. And the girl, well, her life isn't worth shit. Everybody else gets to eat. She's got the cheese sandwich or nothing. You know, oh, so I'm used to being treated like shit there. I'll be treated like shit here. Everything is shit.
Yeah.
I mean, how's that work out? So I have a story from when I was a little kid, and we weren't poor, so I'm not trying to act like I can really identify. But I had to ask my dad for $5 for some deal at school, and man, I don't know what the deal was. The guy just fucking lit me up, literally. Every day it's this and this, and I was like, oh, okay. And I just left and I went and stole it somewhere else. I didn't give a shit.
He had like 6 of you to take care of. God knows what.
Seven.
God knows what the poor man was going through in life.
Oh, I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but all I heard was, you want this and I'm not giving it to you. So I went, well, I'll just go make it myself, and did it the old fashioned way and just went and stole it. People go, what do you mean you stole it? And I go, I literally went and stole it. It wasn't a moral issue for me. I needed $5 the next day. That's not a moral issue for people.
Yeah,
and this is how I knew how
as a child, it's not a real conundrum that you're facing. You just know that tomorrow I need $5 and you go do it, because your lifespan itself is that short, where every day is like.
And so we wonder down the line, and look, I really mean this. This is an economy of shaming. I had it one time and I still remember it. I'm 60. Literally, I remember the frustration of like, what they told me to bring $5. Means nothing. So, these kids, I go back to that mobster with the strange fitting shoes. Man, I mean, he wreaked some havoc in his life.
Who was that, James? Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Shit.
But it wasn't the Bull Bravano, because he's turned into a TV star for everybody.
I have a feeling I've seen this in some part of Gotti.
Yeah, maybe it was Gotti.
It was him.
Yeah, which would explain his, perfect clothing and everything else, because he never, I had a guy in Vito, and like 6 weeks ago. Weirdest experience of my entire life in the restaurant business. And you've got to work to be the weirdest.
I know.
So this guy sits down and he orders a Coke and he eats, but he orders another Coke and another Coke and another Coke. And the server's just, after the third one, does not immediately bring the fourth one, which your job's just bring it. He's not getting drunk. It's not for you to decide. And she did do not a bad job. He'd already had 3 Cokes, but I can tell he's agitated, and I ask him what happened. And he goes, I just don't know if what does she just not think I can afford to be here? And I go, no, man, she's just busy, and you already had 3 Cokes. So she thought, she'd get to the fourth one, and then obviously got on to something else. No, it's just because she doesn't think I'm good enough to be here. And I was like, oh God, I just opened a whole bowl full of crazy here. So I talk him down. He's never coming back anyway. So I'm only talking him down so much. Just get him out the door.
Yeah.
He goes up to her and gives her the money for the bill and another $100. And says, I'm sorry you didn't think I was rich enough to be here. here you go, and then left. And you go, so all you just did was reinforce the fact that you gave her $100, dumbass. I mean, you did not help here. And he leaves, and I say to her, what happened? She goes, well, God, he just kept drinking a Coke every 5 minutes. And I go, then bring him a pitcher. Who cares? This isn't for us to judge. I don't want to hear stuff like that because he's got a legitimate bitch. If it's empty, your job's to fill it. And she goes, but I go, no, I don't want to hear it. Just bring him an effing Coke if he wants a Coke.
Yeah, get one of those the iced tea ones that you'll have and just dump it on
who
his
gives
table
a
and be
shit?
like,
Right. Drink it, enjoy. But imagine he turned a busy server into a judgment on his life. That's the John Gotti adult move right there. She wasn't being disrespectful at all. I mean, she's as meek as they come and sweet. And, you just go, okay, man. You feel better now because you look like an asshole and it cost you $100. Yeah. So I got that going for me. So no, I did not fire her. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
All right. I got to go make some bread, my man.